Yesterday, the big headline, even though the New York Jets did suffer defeat against our former quarterback Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers, Zach Wilson played with a lot of moxie, played with a lot of bravery, played with a set on him. Maybe not a set as big as Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend or whatever.
Oh my God.
A whole other story. But talk to me about Zach Wilson and how he played yesterday in his first game as a pro.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. Obviously not good enough to win, unfortunately. And there's obviously some rookie mistakes that are going to come out. But, there's hope. And I think I'm a little disappointed with the injury to Mekhi Becton. I think that's going to hurt our offensive line. Our offensive line definitely needs to pull together and get this thing going. But there was, some other mistakes that were made that aren't on the offensive line. And so, the quarterback is only as good as his protection, but he's also in the protection. He has to be able to control it. He has to understand where he's hot, where guys are coming free, and how to negate that. So, I thought it was a good start. It's going to be one of those grinds of a season where we're breaking in a rookie. I want to keep seeing development. So, this week against the Patriots, it's obviously going to be difficult, going up against a Bill Belichick defense, but I still want to see improvement.
I mean, if in a small sample, Mangold, right, there was some improvement from the first half to the second half. But let's go back to the offensive line. You had Moses, you had Fant, you obviously had the Becton injury. You could argue about guys at their natural position, so on and so forth. But it was noted that was a five that didn't have the continuity from having the reps together. How did they improve, or is it just as simple as time?
I think a big thing is time. You look even back to the OTAs, Mekhi having some injury issues there and wasn't able to work with the front five. That plays into it. And, missing out on OTAs, going into training camp, not being able to get everybody together for a preseason game. There's a lot of things that happen, as we quote, live bullets when guys are actually able to hit your quarterback that you need to work through. And so without the opportunity to do that in the preseason, and really get that feel, you're going to have a couple of weeks of building time. And my hope is that, they use these couple of weeks as we're going, that they keep improving. And, it's also not only on the field. And I don't know the ins and outs of the team and what's going on, but I do hope that there's outside activities, whether they're getting together for barbecues, which would be my idea, or just going to a restaurant or doing something together. So that way they build the off-the-field relationship, where they now have a little bit more meaning to the guy that's playing next to them because they know their situation, they know about their family, or things that have gone on. So there's a lot to be done, but it really is it's work and time that have to go together.
Nick, I got to give it to the NFL schedule makers this year. They were being very spicy, very dramatic. Feel like every week one matchup had a story to tell. And obviously the story between the Jets and the Carolina Panthers yesterday was going up against your ex. And obviously never fun losing your ex, especially that Sam Darnold to Robbie Anderson connection with Robbie Anderson hitting the Jet celebration in the end zone. Does it make the loss just sting just a little bit more, knowing it was against Sam Darnold, last year's starting quarterback?
It stings a little bit more, but at the same time, it wasn't a blowout, and I don't think Sam lit up the world. So if he had gone in there and thrown 30 for 35 with 5 touchdowns, 450 yards, I might be singing a different tune. But it was a battle, and the Jets, even though they got down early in the first half, we're fighting back and still fighting in that game. It wasn't like Sam came out and lit up the world. So I don't feel as bad. But it still stings, especially seeing Robbie Anderson, who, I think would be a great addition to this wide receiving core, being out there and getting that touchdown. It's tough, but you deal with it, and, you shake your fist at the NFL schedule makers for making us go through this.
The Anderson needle bothered me a little bit more than the Darnold thing. I agree with you there, Mango. All right, let's talk first for the head coach, Robert Saleh. We now enter the Saleh era. Adjustments between the first half and the second half. You didn't come out with the win, but you can see some adjustments being made. What was your assessment?
That's something I really like to see. When you're when things aren't going well, and especially for the first game of the season. So the first game of the season, that is from the time the schedule gets announced to playing that game. That's all the coaches are thinking about. They're thinking about that first game of the season. So coming into it and it not going so well, rather than saying, being hard-headed and saying, hey, listen, we spent all this time working on this plan. This plan is going to get us there. To be able to make the adjustments and say, hey, listen, it didn't work. Let's move on to something else and find our way. Yes, we fell short, and that's disappointing. But you like to see that change and adjusting to what's happening in the game, getting the coaches together where everyone can talk and say, hey, listen, this is going to help us. Let's do this instead. It's a positive sign.
That first loss does hurt, but Jets fans, we got to move on to the future with some NFL future odds, courtesy of Caesars Sportsbook. The New York Jets opened up at home for the first time against the New England Patriots and Mac Jones, another rookie quarterback who lost his first game as well. There are currently 5-point dogs against the New England Patriots. What do you see taking place this first game at home for MetLife? Oh, 5.5 now. Excuse me. Producer just let us know that the line moved just a little bit.
I love the 5 to 5.5 move because it's like nothing's really going to change that. It's a slow move. You go from 6.5 to 7 to 7.5. That's a big change. But 5 to 5. Anyway, I'm intrigued with them being the underdog here. Bill Belichick is a fantastic defensive coach. And he will give Zach and I think this offense some fits. And it's up to the defense. Can the defense shut down Mac Jones and another rookie? So I think it's going to be battle. I think it's going to be close. So I like laying the points with the Jets because I don't see this one being a blowout.
Okay. How'd you do in week 1 on your best? Were you solid, Mango? Can we trust you? Are you off to a good start?
I don't want to talk about that.
At least you're honest.
The honesty is well appreciated over here, Nick. Absolutely.